Sanjin Chodoin Sojin Chonam Changjoin Bardoin Danin Jen Dage Jinsoin Jebe Sonam Dolain Benjire Sanjin Dobrai Shoi Sanjin Chodoin Sojin Chonam Changjoin Bardoin Danin Jabsu Dagen Jinsoin Jebe Sonam Jen Dolai Benjire Sanjin Dobrai Shoi Sanjin Chodoin Sojin Chonam Changjoin Bardoin Danin Jabsoi Jen Dage Jinsoin Jebe Sonam Dolai Benjire Sanjin Dobrai Shoi Simjen Damjen Dewan Dan Dewe Judan Dembrai Dungen Gen Judan Davrai Jujen Dungen Meben Dewan Damban Damin Davrai Jujen Niren Chadai Nidan Dawe Danyam Jembola Nebrai Juroin Je Simjen Damjen Dewe Judan Dembrai Jujen Dungan Dan Dungel Gen Judan Davrai Jujen Dungen Meben Dewan Damban Damin Davrai Niren Chadai Nidan Dawe Danyam Jembola Nebrai Juroin Je Simjen Damjen Dewan Dan Dewe Judan Dembrai Jujen Dungan Dan Dungel Gen Dungen Meben Dewan Damban Damin Davrai Jujen Niren Chadai Nidan Danyam Jembola Nebrai Juroin Je Chazal Wadan Jujen Shaban Dan Jizo Yiran Gushin Sowa Gyalwa Jungsen Dage Jiza Ban Tamjen Zoben Jangjo Chengoi Sashi Beshi Jukshe Medo Jang Rirab Lingshen Yide Jimba Sanje Shindo Mikden Pogay Turgen Namda Shinlan Chirbarai Shoi Simjen Namge Samba Loyen Chedra Chedawa Chujon Timoyen Tekbayin Chuje Korloyen Korando So
Good afternoon. I hope all of you are well rested. I hope all of you had something interesting to eat. Yes, it's all about eating, eating, eating. We don't realize that. Yes, food is the first thing, then clothing, and then chatter, talk, These are things we do, or it's part of our human condition. And so therefore we cannot avoid it, We can never say, I've been eating for the last 30 years or 40 years. Enough is enough, Now here stops, it cannot. And so therefore it's strange. Whether it's religion or spirituality, if you say, materialism, on the other hand, whichever way we talk about, at the end it's about eating, how to eat spiritually, how to eat non-spiritually, We would like to think that we are sophisticated, The only dirty thing one can say is we don't eat each other, But otherwise, we are always trying to find some way to eat the rest, So, therefore, it's something to think about, as part of a meditation, as part of dhyana. Yeah. And it's nothing. You see, Shantideva is not saying that's wrong, you know. But let's say theoretically we think through, you know. From time to time, I did say that in the past. If you try to think through, I mean, at least this is the option we have when we are born as a human being. We have, since this is the only place where we can really exercise concept, exercise ideas. If you think through, you know, whereas if you are born in the extreme ends of the world, you know, extreme ends of the universe, such as what we say animals and celestial realms and so on, those are metaphorically meant metaphorically, as well as to a certain degree, one can almost say, in order to make it real, to say literally, you know. So from those extreme ends, if one sees, or if one looks and observes, one can see that there is no ground to speak of in terms of to run through the scenario, to think through, whereas we can, you know. And that's why it is such a wonderful world, this human world or human condition. And so if we think through, you know, without actually having to go to the extreme ends, you know, literally, yes. If we think through, which is part of the meditation, which is a part of the art of dhyana, then we can see that actually however, because since our idea of time is so strong, yes, then let's say I will live on even though there is no Atma to begin with, you know, but let's say there is, you know, as part of thinking through practice, let's say that there is, then through the theoretical idea of contemplation, then we can see how tiring it is, yes? How extremely tiring it is, because the thing, the last part of the verse says, Dukpa means in this case, beautiful, you know. But beautiful in a sense more of, not objectively, you know, but at the end of the day it's projection, yes. It's stemming from here, you know. That's both vague as well as true, you know, from here. I can say here, you know, literally using the index finger and say here. But if I don't, and if I just use the word, the sound, the noise here, it will still somehow make us think. You know? And so from here, if you think that, let's say I'm here, you are there, I'm present or permanent, that there is an Atma, and then along with it, then what is the saying? In the image of the Maker, you know. So, like me, you know. Can I find what I think is ideal? Thinking, thought process, noise, you know, speech, you know. And then finally, in literal sense, a mirror image, you know. Can I find? Of course I cannot find, if you really think through. The moment we have to look into the mirror every morning, we do not feel comfortable to look at that mirror. You know. Instead, we prefer to see something else. Yes, that's a natural, unaltered. I think that's probably a blessing. I think that's probably a miraculous thing, that we would naturally like to see something else. And it's not about I cannot face my mirror, I cannot face my reflection, but it's a blessing, you know, that I want to see something else, you know. So therefore, for however long, in terms of time, however long I will live, no, I will not be happy with it. Let's say it's flowing from that common sense that I want to see something else, you know. But at the end of the day, if that habit still kicks in and I want to force what I see in terms of that other, you know, at the end of the day, I want to see it the way I want to see it, you know. And so at the end of the day, I'm contradicting myself. And I want to see basically myself, you know, but I cannot face it, you know. I don't want to see it identical. I want to see it as others. Yet through that other, I want to be me, you know. I'm sorry I'm saying all these strange, redundant things in extremely colloquial way, but I hope you can understand, yes. And so therefore, for eons and eons, for life after life, will I be able to see what I want to see if I'm in this perspective? If I let myself be carried away by my habit? No. What Shantideva is saying is, I just cannot, yeah, just cannot. And so, even if I force myself, it will be boring, it will be a torture. Yeah. But at the same time, then the next verse says, well, due to that, then if I just force myself, then what will happen is the very little fleeting yet beautiful awareness that I have, that will also disappear. Yeah. And yet at the same time, in terms of, once again, meaning basically in short, whatever merit I have, whatever goodness I have, whatever space and time I have, whatever positive conditions I have, that will disappear. And at the same time, as long as we haven't abandoned this habit, you know, this very deceiving habit, then you will feel basically the feeling that we are all going through, which maybe we might be able to relate. Scrolling, you know. We just scroll through what is there on that digital book. Maybe next time, another one, tomorrow. And so therefore, like I said yesterday, another day, another minute, you know. And these very, very subtle habits, if they go unchallenged, you know, if you say a little bit boldly, or unchecked, then eventually it will amount, or it will aggregate, it will pile up to a certain degree that after some time we feel defeated, basically. Yeah, we will feel so defeated that we will feel there are too many letters to answer. There is too many accountancy, to go through. And so, therefore, we would like to restart, and the feeling of, I don't know, rebirth, the experience of rebirth will take place. And basically it's some form of suicide, actually. Yeah. By saying it's too much and I want to reboot or restart, Of course, there may be, if merit would have it, or if you have enough merit, you might feel that, okay, I can start on a clean slate. From here onwards, I will organize everything and so on. But if the habit is not tackled, those habits are very subtle, very simple, And so, if you don't deal with it accordingly, meaning if it's subtle, deal it subtly, yes, appropriately, complementarily, then basically we will never be satisfied, no matter how many resets we do. We can literally commit suicide, we can, or theoretically we can say, forget yesterday and let's start anew, but nevertheless we will never be satisfied, in short. Never ever. Why? Because we haven't, we bulldozed, we bullied, we powered through, thinking that this subtle thing, it's so measly, I can just power through, I can use my might, I can use my history, I can use my heritage, I can use my lineage of this greatness, that greatness, and then try to sort of bulldoze it, But it doesn't work really like that. Yes, if there is a powerful foe, so to speak, then we are all romantics, yes. We like the idea that either it's an equal challenge, or we are to be more romantic, we are the minority. And so therefore we challenge the impossible, In that sense, it's invigorating, it's nice, But to think in a way that, these measly little things, I will overpower them with all my epic fury, So, then yes, at the end of the day, we haven't really dealt with the actual truth, the actual facts. And so therefore, and then as if he was trapped by that, and then he said some rather intelligent things, But the truth was, truth is, that's always something that I always keep in mind. That the very same teacher who taught me about the Vaitara always used to say that you are going to learn English in time. He said it's a wonderful language, and yet at the same time, what you have to be aware, he said, is that the Tibetan language is based on action, whereas the English language is based on time. He said, you have to know the difference. Then you can enjoy it, he said. Such wonderful things, As a growing child, you need to hear that kind of inspiration, Not to say, oh, the world is terrible, there are enemies here, enemies there, you need to protect yourself, you need to defend your own territory, and so on and so forth, using spirituality, But instead, he used to say those things, Yes, there is diversity, there is variousness, But if you can enjoy it, then he said, well, which is similar to, I don't know, one of the poets, English poets said, I think, variety is the spice of life or something, So, therefore, it rings, Since we are inevitably going through this current of utilizing ChatGPT or this form of artificial intelligence, we have a huge responsibility, how we educate them, just like how we would educate our young ones, And because just like a child, this, I don't like to use the word creature, which is, I think, which is derived from the idea of creation, creator, and so on. But nevertheless, whether it's organic or not, doesn't matter. We have manifested something very, very interesting. And so eventually we will try to draw wisdom from it, like Manjushri. And so therefore, again, the care is so important. The compassionate aspect is so important. I think it all comes down to what we search for, how we search for. We have all kinds of search engines, yes? And so accordingly, what we search for, because this child is so innocent that it can recognize this Ultron, To some of you, it might speak, to some of you might not. If you are a fan of Marvel comics, Ultron. And so therefore, this is constantly learning our habits, Basically, they are copying us at the end of the day. Copying how we walk, how we talk, how we think, So it's not so much to have an actual program, hard program to say, you, my child, you must learn this, and this is the way. Instead, just like any young children, they will just mimic, copy the most subtle things we do. And that, the shortcut to it, I feel, is the way we search for information. According to how we search for information, it has a direct connection to the growth of this artificial intelligence. And so therefore, whether we would like to see a very dramatic doom, or not, we would like to have a wonderful friend, it will be completely up to us in terms of how we search for information. I'm not saying this so that now we will have second thoughts about what we would do, and feel so nervous about it. But it's good to be aware. It's part of this samadhi or dhyana practice. So then, in this case, what that artificial intelligence will learn, or what we would learn, is that as long as we don't love excellence, we don't love beauty, which is transient, then what will happen is we will have a misguided appearance of that or experience of that. And so therefore what will happen is what we say samsara. And so here it goes. That what we say people, that impossible to please, in short, And so therefore, then one of the first things that begins from the 11th verse is jealousy. You cannot say it's purely desire or attachment. You cannot purely say it is anger or ignorance. Yet at the same time, without the three of them, there would be no such thing as jealousy. So, yet at the same time, they are like the children of those three, And so therefore there is a very strong sense of family, and nepotism, And so therefore from there, then, in terms of how to give birth to this child, you need a reason to give birth to this child, this forsaken child, is then none other than thinking. It begins very innocently, of course, just like any young children, whether they are, regardless of their gender, they naturally feel that I want to be older, wiser, That's more natural, of course, yes. And so they don't really like mingling among themselves. They often they always try to find a way to look up, yes? And then, I want to be that, I want to be that. And then, until they are physically and mentally there, in that sort of capacity, it's a constant struggle, Initially it comes out cute, but later on it's not so cute. And so therefore now, if this goes unchecked, that desire to grow up, let's say, if one gets fixated on this, or in this case, whether it's the mother or the father, oh, this is because of my mother's fault or my father's fault, So I don't know if attachment is the mother or the father, I don't know. But accordingly, and then one feels that I want to become basically, in short, obsessed, one way or the other. That which started very innocently, it becomes an obsession. Yes, it goes unchecked, unchallenged, and not worked with, And then as a result, what we get is a pattern, an event, a state, not a person, not an actual thing, not a literal existing, truly existing thing, but a pattern is then developed, which we call commonly as jealousy. Yes? And so therefore, it's never enough, Of course it will never be enough, because we wanted to grow up like somebody, yes? Yet at the same time, we will never get there, that tomorrow will never come, actually, But we didn't realize that, And as a result, even when we have reached the exact same age, we have reached a very similar sort of physical stature in terms of strength, wealth, power, fortune, fame, everything is still never enough. And so it has become an addiction, to be constantly jealous, envious. And all we know, more than our practice or meditation, we know more of that as a mantra, daily prayer. And so then we have sayings like, oh, the grass is always greener on the other side, all those things, yes? And so it's a phenomenon. That's why it's saying it's a dharma. But what kind of phenomena? What kind of dharma? Worldly dharma. That's the best we can come up with so far in English term. But in Tibetan we say njikten. Very subtly Shantideva is expressing, reminding us for beginners, yes? Whereas for those who are advanced, who have overcome, who have reached moksha, then they don't need to talk about these things, yes? But for us as beginners, since we are still looking for a cure, yes? That's why there is a reason to respect the robes. The robes are not a stature, particularly the robes that the ones that ordained ones wear, and even the lay ones. They all wear a part of a robe. And if I understood correctly from my teachers, is that they were never meant to show stature, higher excellence, social stature, I mean, not completely. But instead, it was a way to show that I have a problem. Like, not a physical one, but a mental one. It's saying, be warned, I'm mental. And so, but not all the way crazy, I'm somewhat aware of my condition, And so therefore, I'm wearing this clothing as a sign to say, bear with me, or be warned, be warned of the dog or something, beware of dog or something. Of course, we can put it more dramatic, beware of the monster and all this and that. But really, sort of truthfully and very, in a very civilized way of saying, I'm working on something, please give me time. All I'm asking for is the basic necessity of life. That's all I need. Because I know that I cannot take anything with me, whether after I have worked out what is my problem, or before that, if my body should come to an end, Either way, I will not take anything with me. And so therefore, please bear with me. And I'm not trying to say that, or one is not trying to say that if you do, then you will have better consequences, better connections for supernatural powers, longevity, blah, blah, But instead, truthfully say, I'm working on something. Yeah. I remember one of the stories that I used to repeat sometimes in the past was that I think that time I was back in Tibet, yes. And so therefore, of course, there's nothing much to do. There is no ChatGPT at the time. There is no YouTube, there is no Google, there is not even electricity, of course. So all you can do is just listen to people, yes, and their stories. And so one of the stories was that they said, oh, once upon a time, there were two masters, you know. And then one of the masters said, my goodness, today I think the session went quite well with the local villagers. And the fellow master said, oh, how so? He said, because when I today described about the nature of samsara and everything, the whole audience was very emotional, you know, and they were very moved, basically. And then he said, oh, okay. And then the next day, then he did the one who did the other master, then again attended the session or gave a lecture. And then he started to talk about the suffering of a carrot, you know, the kind of condition that it goes through, you know, how difficult it is to be born as a carrot. You know, the whole birth, living, dying cycle of a carrot, you know, or carrots. And the whole audience cried. And then he came back for, I don't know, afternoon tea or lunch and told us, hey, what do you think about that? And so therefore, yes, I mean, we are all philosophers, of course, at the end of the day, you know. If you want to believe that everything is alive, you know, no, now where is that gentleman? I cannot see. Oh, yes, that's it. Yeah. So, yes, we can make anything alive, you know. There are religions for that, you know, to say, you know, not just to say sentient being, but all living beings are alive. And in terms of naturalism, I suppose we can pretty much go along with that, you know. That's why yesterday, you can, yes, I will wait for you to put the, yeah. That's why I think yesterday already, probably even day before, I did mention that, which I will repeat now again to answer this question. It's not personal, you know. This either this particular literature or Buddha Dharma in general, it's not saying, oh, attachment is bad, you know, and if you have attachment, then there is something wrong with you, you know. And then we will begin to feel, is attachment something that is on me, you know, like a dirt, or is it within me, or is it me, you know. And we have all kinds of, as we say, outer, inner secret, you know. We create all kinds of levels, and philosophically we try to sort of, either with the help of a shrink or by oneself, we will begin to investigate further and further. But as long as we don't have this vision or view, or this kind of meditation, or meditation, yes, then it's possible that we somehow feel that it's invasive, that I think this spirituality is attacking me, invading my privacy, And the moment we feel that and not realize that it's talking about a pattern, a certain event, a certain mood, a certain atmosphere, rather than something solidly existing self, Atma. Yes? The moment we don't know that, realize that, remember that, it becomes too personal, And therefore, then if one believes that it's on me, then maybe, we can take a shower or something, But if it's somehow a little bit inner, it's part of my blood, part of my DNA, then what kind of dialysis I need to have, And then, but what if? Just what if? What if this is really me, There is something wrong with me. Then it becomes very personal, yes? And it's very difficult to deal with it, accept it. And then we can literally feel depressed, Forget spirituality. Even on one's own, one can feel depressed. Whereas Buddhism in general, and particularly in this Shantideva, what he's saying is that let's look at it in a way that it's like a weather. It's like seasons. It's like a pattern, a certain layer of spectrum, And in a spectrum there are so many different rays of color, light, yes, shapes and so on. Or if you cannot see, but if you can hear, sound is a whole nother universe, yes. Sound just doesn't exist by itself, It needs three main components. So, in terms of the receiver, the amplifier or the sound box, and then the interaction, yes. Yeah.